All right. Are we together? Okay, please drop a comment if you can hear me, if you can see me clearly. Give me a thumbs up. Okay, we don't do thumbs up in YouTube. But let me know, drop a comment if you can see, if you can hear me so we can begin. I have so much to give you today. So much to give you today. I'm sure you can see my face up, but you can also see my screen beside it. And I have so much value packed, ready to deliver to you, ready um, to share with you so that stop, you're not stuck in why your book isn't selling. But at the end of this webinar, where you would be is that, oh my God, I have massive book sales. And that's exactly what we want to achieve with this free webinar. So I'm just going to wait a few more seconds for more people to join. And so, every single person here can maximize this webinar. So let's just wait for a few more people. You can share the link as well. Share the link to your network or to other authors who are struggling with book sales. And I always like to say it's nothing to be ashamed of if you're struggling with book sales. You are a writer, you're an author. Predominantly, that's who you are, a writer. You're not a marketer, you're not a salesperson. Those are skills that people spend years learning. So if you don't know how to market your book or sell your book, it's not your fault. You just were never taught. And so today I am here to teach you what to do in order to expand your network in order to ensure that your book sells and sells well. So let's just wait a few more seconds for more people to join. Please drop a comment. Say you're ready. Just say I am ready in the comment section. Let me know you're ready. And we'll begin very, very, very shortly. Very shortly. You can also tell me where you're joining from and what you're looking forward to. Also, you can let me know what the name of your book is. This is another way for more people to get to know about your book. I will see this as we go on, but let me know what your name is, what's the name of your book, when did you publish it, and all of that. So I think we can begin, and the recording will be here on YouTube, so you can always go back, and anyone who joins later can always watch it. All right, I am so excited. So let's begin. So we are here at the Massive Book Sales webinar with the theme Why Your Book Isn't Selling. So what I expect is that you are here, you have a book published, and your book isn't selling like you expected. A lot of people to rush and to buy your book because there was a very strong story. You had such a huge transformation awaiting your readers, but your mom bought a copy, your friend bought a copy, but that was it. You gave a free copies out, but that was it. No one actually rushing to buy your book, and you're asking yourself why. Why isn't my book selling? So, in less than 60 minutes, we're going to fix that. So, stay with me. Stay with me. This is all for you. So, stay with me. All right. So, caveat before we begin, if you wrote a book as a passion project, this may not be the webinar for you. Okay, because if you wrote it as a passion project, you just wanted to get something out, you're not really focused on sales, you're not really focused on having 10,000 copies sold or 20,000 copies sold. You just wanted a creative project, and that's okay. But if you really want to see real results and real transformation, then this webinar is totally worth it. And I ask you to give me your full attention. All right? Are we good together? Let's go. Now, selling your book, and this is one fact, and I think if you are writing anything, you should write this down. Selling your book is about finding your readers. Finding your readers. And I love this picture that's here. We see someone reading a book, and we see a lot of people attentively paying attention to him. Because these are the people who are interested in your story, who need your message, and who awaits the transformation that your book offers. I don't read sci fi novels, but there are a lot of people who do. The sci fi author, I am not the reader, but there are a lot of people who are. There are so many people who read self help books, productivity books. I am one of those readers. So if you have written a productivity book, I would be interested. But if you wrote a sci fi book, I may not be interested. So selling your book is about finding your readers. You have written a story, you had a message, there is somebody or some people who are interested in that. And so your job is to find those people and put your book in front of them. And it all starts with generating demand for your book. Now, we started this webinar by saying you published your book and you expected that, people will get to know about your book and they'll rush towards it. But write this down. Visibility equals sales. Now let's unpack that a bit. Visibility equals sales. If no one knows about your book because it's not visible, then no one is going to buy it. That is the truth. And you need to generate demand. You need to ensure that people are looking forward to reading your book. People know about your book or know about you. And we'll get into all these things very shortly. But what you should take away from this is you need to make yourself and your book visible. After writing, because I can say that's your job, but your job was to be an author. But after you've published, your next job is to do anything you can to make your book visible. Because visibility is equal to sales. In the equals to, there are a lot of things in between, which we'll talk about shortly. But the crux of the matter is that visibility equals sales, and generating demand for your book takes time and effort. So let's go into the webinar. Why isn't my book selling? So I'm going to reveal to you 5 major mistakes that you probably make or you have probably made that impacted your book sales. Please listen very closely. All right, no fluff, real stuff. Right now, the first mistake that you may have made is having no launch campaign. You didn't have a book launch. And now a book launch can come in different forms. It can be digital book launch, it can be physical book launch. So a digital book launch, you are using so many digital tools and platforms to push out your book before it's even published, before it's even released. A physical book launch is where you rent a hall, you decorate, you have physical copies of your book, you invite your friends, some people from the press, and you launch your book. So there is that's like a launch, physical, digital book launch. But before the launch happens, what needs to happen is called a launch campaign. So a campaign is designed to create excitement, to create buzz, to build anticipation for the release of your book. Now, the best time to have a launch campaign is before your book is released. Because what it does, and I've seen so many successful authors do this, and the reason why I know that this method is very successful in driving sales is because I've seen it happen so many times. And this works whether you are already a public figure or not. And we're going to go into more on that. But having a launch campaign is so important. I'm sure you all have witnessed this. There's someone you know, probably on Instagram or Facebook, and they're writing a book. And you know about the fact that they're writing a book 1 year, probably, before they publish it because they strategically talk about it. They make posts about it. They take you through their writing journey. They tell you to pre order their book. All those things are not just flimsy, they are strategic. And that is what a launch campaign is. And so once you keep seeing that over and over and over again, what happens is that the name of the book or the author that's writing the book gets stuck in your brain. When next you see the post or the book, it's not new anymore. And guess what? If you walk into a bookstore and you happen to find that book, you already know what the book looks like. You already know the name of the author. You already know the book cover. You already know the category. And you walk into a bookstore looking for something else and you see that book, guess what? You may just buy it because you already are familiar with it without the author coming to knock on your door and say, Hi, buy my book. Because that's what many of us are doing. We reach out to people and say, Hi, buy my book. Hello, buy my book. Um, could you buy my book? And that's not wrong. But there are things you do before your book is released that before there are people who don't even know you but walk into a store or they're searching Amazon and they see your book and you're like, oh, I know this book. I know what it's about. I know the author. And they buy it. So that's what a launch campaign does. It builds excitement and anticipation before release. And remember, visibility equals sales. When people know about this, there is a spike in sales during launch week. Now, like I said, many people buy books that they've seen promoted or recommended repeatedly. For example, there's this very popular book called Atomic Habits. Atomic Habits is a book that is talked about a lot. And many people read the book Atomic Habits because someone they know or someone they trusted said that Atomic Habits had a lot of value. And so they went to buy the book and they read the book. There's another amazing author called Alex Ramosi. He has a book series. And many people went to read the first book or the second book because someone they knew or someone they trusted recommended the book, said it helped them, said it had a lot of value, said it was really good. So having a launch campaign really helps your book get into people's minds a lot. So what are the different ways you can create a launch campaign? And I know I'm speaking to people, right? If it feels like I'm speaking to people who have not launched their book, but if you have already released your book, you can have a relaunch campaign. So don't think, oh, yes, I made the mistake of not having a launch campaign, but I can take whatever I'm hearing now to have a relaunch campaign. So you can look for podcasts that are in your niche and feature in that podcast and talk about your book. You can look at bloggers who write about books, send them a copy and say, please give your honest review, talk about my book. You can do interviews or have strategic media posts to help spread your message because your network may be limited, one, or your immediate network may not be your readers. Remember the first slide we said that your book, you need to find your readers. So people in your immediate circle may not be your readers, and you wonder why they're not buying, they're not supporting me. Maybe they're just not interested. Maybe they just don't want to read that. And that's okay. You need to find your readers. And so going on podcasts, putting your books up on blogs, having interviews, and many other things can help spread your book and create anticipation, create excitement before your launch. Now, remember we said that it builds anticipation before the launch and it generates a spike in sales during launch week. This last point shows us that when you have a launch campaign, especially a successful launch campaign, you can collect data and analyze. So, what works best? What do people like to see? What platform drew more people to my book? And once you continue analyzing that data, you're able to implement things in your, marketing strategy continuously that actually work. So no guessing anymore. You know what works. So the first mistake you probably made while your book isn't selling It's because you didn't have a launch campaign. Like I said, you can have a relaunch campaign for your book and apply all these things in there. Let's move on to the second one. The second mistake you're probably making is that you don't have an author brand. Now, books are products, but readers often connect emotionally with authors. We read books most times because we know who the author is. They have a good reputation. Some people buy books because they see the title and they feel like, okay, this title helps, and we'll come to that. I remember there was a time I went to a bookstore to buy one book. That was The Power of Habit. I went to buy that book because I got into a salon and I saw the book. I started reading it and it was fine. But then I saw another book called The Power of Focus. Now, The Power of Focus had three authors, and I didn't know any of them. But they had a description on the book saying two of these authors wrote Chicken Soup for the Soul. Now, I don't know if any of you know Chicken Soup for the Soul, but I know I read those books a lot when I was younger. And that's spurred me. It spurred so much excitement to buy the book, and I ended up leaving with two books instead of one. And that is somewhat a definition of an author brand. Your brand is your reputation and the reputation of your book. Who are you to your readers? You might think, oh, it's just the book that matters. No, you, the author, you matter. Because the truth is, the book is the connecting point between your reader and you. It's the connecting point between your reader and you. There's something people say that if you want a mentor, go and find their book. If you want to learn from a man, especially if the man probably isn't living anymore, go and find your book. The book is the connection between your reader and you. So if you focus just on the book alone and you don't work on your brand, something is missing. It feels like a one off transaction. Oh, you just bought the book, but you don't have continuous impact on your reader because you had a message, a story, a transformation to give that person. But you have much more in you than you put in that one book to give that person. And so, if there is no brand, there is no relationship, there is no connection, and you can't continue to pour into that person in any way. So, you need to build your brand. Another reason why the brand is important is because it creates communities and it amplifies word of mouth. I gave the example of the book Atomic Habits. A lot of people, including myself, read the book because other people said it was so valuable. That is word of mouth. And the author has built a great brand that you know that this person is so knowledgeable, has receipts to show for it, and much more. So you need to build your brand. You need to ask yourself, who am I? Am I a very bold author or am I a funny person? What do I give to my readers when they come? These are the questions you ask yourself to establish your author brand. Another great um, thing about having an author brand is that it makes your marketing more persuasive. If you don't know your brand, when I keep saying brand, it's more than just a logo or colors because when we say brand, we think about businesses with logo and colors and typography. That's just one part of the brand. And you might say, oh, how does it come to my book? No, it's that's just one part of the brand. Branding is perception. How do people perceive you as the author? How do people respond when you speak? What they think about you and your book and your message and your story. That is what the brand is. So you need to rethink about that, answer those questions, and set it up. But if you don't have a brand, every time you put out something, it's always different. Your marketing won't be authentic. So you need to sit down tonight and craft your author brand and let that infuse into everything else you do. Let's go to the third one. I hope isn't too much on you, but you came here to learn. You came here to see the loopholes that you had in your strategy. And what I'm giving you now is glue to fix it all up. I'm giving you what to put into those holes to close it up so that you have a foolproof plan and strategy to ensure you have massive book sales. That is the goal for this webinar, massive book sales. Now, the third mistake that is hindering your book sales is poor social media strategy. Take this: posting is not equal to marketing. Posting is not equal to marketing. It's not the same thing. You post a random picture, okay, let's not say it's random, but you post a picture of your book on Instagram and you said, oh, that's my marketing. I market on social media. No, my dears, that is not marketing. Posting is not the same as marketing. Marketing rather, is about strategy. There should always be an end goal to whatever you're doing on any social media platform to increase certain things for your book. Either you're increasing visibility, or you're increasing the lead generation, or you're prompting people to buy the book more. So there should always be an end goal. And the beauty of marketing, honestly, is in a strategy. So some people mix this up. They think of, oh, what should I post? When should I post it? And how many people liked it? And that's success. No, it's a strategy that informs what you post. Your strategy informs when you post, and your strategy informs what you measure for success. So, what are the different ideas that you can, put on social media for your marketing? Behind the scenes look. People love a good story. And I know that you have a lot of stories in your book, but that's not what we're talking about here. People love to be carried in a journey. Many people connect through storytelling. And so when you're able to show the behind of the scenes of your book, it could be you writing the book, even if you've published already. It could be what inspired you to write the book. What was your book writing setting like? What were the days where you wrote? What did it look like? What was it behind the scenes? What are some writing tips? You could give that in your marketing. Talk about your passions. Remember, we're building your author brand. Talk about your passions or conversation around your book theme. If I write a book on time management, there are other conversations around time management that I can talk about on social media to reach more people. That is all part of strategy. You don't just wake up one day, sit down, and just say, okay, today I want to take a picture of my book outside. That's a good angle. No, you need to have a strategy. And many of us have heard of Book Talk. Book Talk is a large community of people who love reading books. And this is not limited to fiction or Wattpad stories alone. Book Talk is so powerful. You find people in different genres, niches, likes, so many different angles. And you see that any author who maximizes the viral power of Book Talk can sell a lot. So you see, many of what I've said, you're not relying on just your page alone. You're finding ways to tap into existing markets. I'll continuously say this. In the first slide, we said selling your book is about finding your readers. They already exist. You know they exist. That's why you wrote the book. Your readers are waiting to find your book and to read it. And so, like I said, your job is to find those readers, tap into the existing markets. And Book Talk is one existing market where you can find your readers. And how do you maximize this? By using specific hashtags. Many people say hashtags don't work, but they do, because this is what these social media platforms sometimes use in their algorithm to either show your picture or your video to a person, to categorize, your post when someone searches something, or to recommend it to someone that is just scrolling. So hashtags work. So if you haven't been, and it's part of your strategy. If you haven't been using specific hashtags, use them. Go and search for broad hashtags to use, search for smaller hashtags to use, and you can even create your own custom book hashtag. For example, we're using the example of Atomic Habits, hashtag Atomic Habits book, hashtag productivity book, hashtag productivity, hashtag book talk. You will be amazed at the kind of people that find your book. Another social media strategy you could use is partnering with influencers who also talk about the book. I think on Instagram they call them book Instagrammers. On TikTok they call them book talkers. These are people who are known to talk about books, people who are known to give their honest reviews about books, and who have a following of people that are interested already. Your job is to partner with them in one way or the other. Send them a free copy of your book. Give them certain perks. Send them a customized bookmark or something of that sort. And tell them, look, I have this book. I know that it's great. Could you read the book and post about your honest review? And you see the exposure that comes from that, and you see the massive sales that you get from that. So if you didn't have a social media strategy before, please settle down with everything I've said and put together your social media strategy. Now let's go on to the next mistake. The next mistake you probably have made or you're probably making is that you don't have a website or landing page for your book. Now, remember, we had a caveat at the beginning of this webinar. We said that if your book was just a passion project, a creative outlet, some things here may be too much for you. Like, why do I need to do all of that? But if you're looking to impact millions of people, there are certain things you need to put in place, certain structures you need to put in place to ensure that you reach those people. Massive book sales is not all about making a lot of money. It's about ensuring that your message gets to as many people as possible while making a lot of money from that. So, fourth mistake is you probably don't have a website or a landing page for your book. Now, you need a home base, somewhere that's fully under your control. And that's the first thing I would tell you about having a website. You need something that is yours, your own domain, your own website. You control the whole ecosystem of that. You need it for your book. Why? First of all, social media, you can't depend on social media alone to market your book, because algorithms can change. They can shut down your page any day, anytime. And if you build a large following there and people only know you on social media and they don't know your website or any other thing, if any of that happens, you have lost your audience. You have to start building again and again and again and again from scratch. But if you have your own website, that's fine. There's sometimes that online retailers like Amazon publish your book on Amazon and they just remove your book for no reason. What do you do then? So you need your own website or landing page for your book. And a professional website also signals to people that you actually take your craft serious. Like I said, it's not just a creative outlet or passion project. It's made for impact. Now, landing page. Let's talk about that a bit. A landing page, what it can do for you is that it can help you get emails of your readers. And why is this important? It's because you can create a relationship with them continuously and you can always get to them whenever you need to. So, like I said earlier, if Instagram shuts down your page or your page just goes down, you haven't lost anything because you have ownership of your readers, you have ownership of your fan base, you have ownership of the kind of people who love you, who love your message. And so, if anything happens anywhere else, you still have your tribe. Also, you build relationship with them. Remember when we were talking about the first mistake, we said you need connection. You need connection to the people who are reading because you're poured a certain percentage into the book, but you have much more to give. And so you need a way that you can keep giving to your audience, whether this is in publishing another book, whether this is feeding them with, um, newsletters, whatever it is, you need a way to keep on reaching out to them. And that is why an email list as an author is so important. So you don't have a website, you don't have a landing page, you don't have an email list, you are missing out on selling your book. And your website also gives you a lot of data for analytics. You can know where did this person come from? Was it through paid ads? Was it through social media? Was it through word of mouth? Was it through a podcast? And then if you find what works, you can put more energy into that platform for more sales. Are we getting it? So if you don't have a website or landing page, it is really easy to get one. There's so many free platforms where you can build websites, build your landing page, set up your email list. So ensure you do this for continuing relationships because you can upsell to these people, you can sell against these people, and you have a group of people who can push out your book through word of mouth or through different partnerships. So if you don't have one, this is your chance to get one. And this is the final mistake, is so important, extremely important. Not having book metadata or having low metadata optimization. Now, from a science point of view, metadata is simply data of data. And what that means is it is data used to describe another data. So let's bring it into the context of books and bring it into the context of optimizing books. Your book metadata is all the information that describes your book in totality. So this includes the title of your book, the subtitle of your book, the author name, the book description, the book category, um, and so much more. So, what does it mean to optimize your metadata? It means that you are very strategic and intentional in choosing things that, one, best describe your book, two, helps your book get seen and noticed on online retailers or online generally, and three, ensures that it reaches the right people. Let's take Amazon for example. Someone goes to Amazon and they want to buy a book and they put in a category of cooking. You have a cooking book, they put in a category of cooking, and a list of cooking books come out. How does Amazon know which is a cooking book or not? It's because of the metadata. The authors of those books have probably ensured that there are keywords they have put in their title, there are keywords they put in subtitles, there are certain keywords they put in the description of the book, and most importantly, they have correctly labeled the book category as a cooking book. But if you label your cooking book as a productivity book, guess what? When someone searches for a cooking book, your book won't show up and you would have missed out on a sale. But when you optimize your metadata for your book and someone types cooking book, your book shows up. That's one step. The next step is, what's the title of your book? How do you ensure that when someone sees your book title or your book cover, they get it? There's this old quote that says, don't judge a book by its cover. So many people do judge books by its cover, especially when you're shopping online. So, how do you ensure that your book title, subtitle, and cover attracts people to check you out? So, the first step, we went on Amazon to search for a book and we searched for cooking books, and your book came up amongst many others. All right. Now, the second thing is, how do I ensure that I capture them to check mine out? That's not all. The third thing is your book description. That's still part of your metadata optimization. How do you describe your book? What's the description of the book that ensures that when someone reads this, they're like, I need to get this book? Remember, we're not selling this book in the sense of we are doing all the effort saying, please buy my book. No. In this case, you probably not even there. You have no idea that someone is searching for a cooking book at that time. But the person is like, I really need this book because you have optimized your book description to touch the pain points, the needs of people who need a cooking book like yours. And the person reads the description and is like, I will get this book. And they buy the book, and that's a sale. So that is why optimizing your book metadata is so, so, so important. So, like we said, retailers, book retailers, especially online retailers, match your book metadata with reader searches and recommendations. Now, a book metadata is very similar to a bookstore where any book that has to do with mathematics, for example, is put in a shelf for mathematics, and anyone that has to do with marketing is put in a shelf for marketing. So anyone who's looking for a marketing book automatically goes to the marketing shelf. That's the same thing with online retailers, and that is why optimizing your book metadata online is so important. So, like we said, without this metadata, your book will not appear in relevant searches, or if it's misleading, it attracts the wrong audience. It doesn't attract your readers. So, tell me, which of these mistakes hit home? Please drop it in the chat. Which of these mistakes have you made or are you currently making? Is it the book launch? Is it the author branding? Your social media strategy, not just for you, but for your book as well? Your landing page or website? Or metadata optimization? These five mistakes are why your book isn't selling as much as you want it to. When you fix them using exactly what I've told you to do, you'll find your readers and you'll be able to impact more people. More people will have much more transformation. Your story will be told around the world. Your message will be told around the world. And obviously, you will make a lot of money from it. So, which of these mistakes hit home? And tell me, which one are you going to do? What adjustments are you going to make? I want to see your comments. What adjustments are you going to make? Let me know in the comment section. Which one are you going to pay attention to now? What adjustments are you going to make? You know, let me know. While you're typing, I need you to look at this picture extremely well. People publish books every single day. If they gather all the books in this world and put it in a room, it will look like this. What makes your book stand out? How do you ensure your book isn't swallowed in the noise? How do you ensure your book actually reaches the people that it needs to reach? How do you ensure that your story gets to the right people? That your efforts in sitting down every day to write is fruitful? How do you sell more books? This is everything that you do, everything I've told you. And let me just go back a bit. Have a book launch campaign. Whether you have already published your book or you're still writing, if you publish, have a relaunch campaign with the steps I told you to take. Secondly, create a strong author brand. Like I said, your book is the connecting factor. It's not all. If they take your book away, do people still care about your message? Do people still care about your story? Do they still want transformation from you? Craft your author brands. Next thing, have a social media strategy. Don't just post randomly. Have goals that you are aligned to, that you can take analytics from, you can learn from. Have a good strategy. Next, create a landing page where you can collect the emails from your readers so you can continue to build relationship with them. You can create challenges where they pump out a lot of, excitement about your book, or they post their own reviews on, their own pages, which puts more eyes on your book and brings more people to buy. What is our quote for this webinar? Visibility equals sales. The more you can make your book visible, the more sales you can have. Or you have a website for your book. And one easy way I've seen authors maximize this is by putting links to their website inside the book. So after chapter one, they tell you go to mybook.com/workbook to get a workbook for this chapter. You have sent someone to your website or your landing page. They put in their emails, put in their names, and they press enter. Now you have gotten their emails and you have given them something also very valuable. That is how you continue relationship and expand your book brand with your website. So I just gave you another tip. If you're still writing or you have your book, try to insert your website or landing page links in practical ways into your book so that more people can get into your website. Where you may even have master classes that are paid. You may have much more other things where you can upsell to people. Or you need to optimize your book metadata. This is very, very important, especially if you're selling online. You need to optimize your book metadata so that when people search on Google, on Amazon, your book is being recommended to them. They see your book cover, they see the title, the subtitle, they're intrigued. They click on it, see the book description, and you're sold. So, you may have made one or two mistakes from this, but I am so sure that you're going to apply the things that you have learned from this to ensure you have massive book sales. So, I'm going to put this picture again for 10 seconds. Just dwell on it. Do I want my book to be generic like this? No titles, no one knows about me. It's just in the sea of published books. Or do I want my book to stand out? Do I want to find my readers? Do I want to have massive book sales? Do I want to make such a huge world impact with my book? The choice is yours. The choice is yours. So I hope you are ready to stop guessing and making massive book sales. Please type in the comment section massive book sales. Massive book sales. Please type it in the comment section if you are ready To stop guessing and start making massive book sales, please just type massive book sales in the comment section. Thank you so much. All right. So I want to mention this before we go. I asked you for 60 minutes, taking less than that, but I hope you've gotten value. I have a special package, not for everyone, for specific people to help them market their book, to share their story, to ensure that other people are transformed. And right now, my law marketing agency caters to autistic authors, authors who have autism spectrum disorder, but who have fought through that to share their story or share any other story through a book. So we cater to these kind of authors to help them market their books using some of the tips I've told you. But it is a very strategic, intentional, done for you model that we put in place to ensure we push out this story. Now, if you know anybody who may be autistic and is in the process of publishing or has published, please let them reach out to us. We are so glad to help them push out their story and make massive book sales. I hope you haven't stopped typing massive book sales because I know that you who attended this webinar or watched the replay, you have taken note of the things you're going to start doing tonight to ensure you get massive book sales. So please contact us if you have any more questions. We're happy to help. But like we said, right now we only cater to helping autistic authors market their book and make so much sales. Get their story out, ensure transformation happens for them and for their readers. So take our email down. If you're joining us here, you should have seen emails from us, but take our email down, share our page with them, let them come to us while you go and apply all the things that you have learned here today. So thank you so much. We have come to the end of this webinar. If you have any questions at all, please send us an email and we will be so glad to answer you. Once again, visibility equals sales. I can't wait to see you win. Thank you.